Welcome to the Mrs. Ware training session on the calendar. The calendar is available from Mrs. Ware under both the Go-To menu, under Contact Relationship Management Calendar, as well as from the shortcut sidebar under Calendar. The calendar by default will display in month view. The month view starts off in the current week with the current day selected and will show you 5 weeks out. In addition to the schedule area, there is also a calendar navigation bar on the side. The calendar navigation bar by default will load with the previous month, the current month, and then carry it out however many more months it can fit. Key dates on this calendar navigation bar are shown in bold. These dates are days where there are other appointments that are scheduled. Clicking on any of these dates will navigate you through the calendar. You can always get back to the current day by pressing the Today button on the calendar toolbar. Calendars have two different pieces of type information that control how they are shown in the calendar display. The first piece of type information is partially responsible for the color coding we see, and if we go to the Go-To Contact Relationship Management, Manage Appointment, Labels, we will see the current types that are in the system. The system comes preloaded with Anniversary, Birth Date, Business, Important, Must Attend, Needs Preparation, None, Personal, Phone Call, Travel Required, and Vacation. I've added my own custom type of Holiday. Editing any of these types will allow you to change the label or to change the color that they display in your calendar. The other key type that's configurable is under the Go-To Contact Relationship Management, Manage Appointments, Types. While you can't see the type from simply looking at the calendar, the type determines whether or not someone else can see your appointments on their calendar. Types that are of access level public can be searched for and shown on everyone's calendar. Types of private will only show on anyone's calendar you've set them as an attendee and yours. In addition to the month view, there are 3 other types of view for the calendar. We can switch to week view, which will show us a 7-day week with the weekends in a compressed format. Again, we don't see any time, we just see what appointments are on what days. On the work week view, what we see is a Monday through Friday schedule. And now what we do is we see available time slots. And in addition to the color coding of the appointment, we also see the free busy color coding in the margin for the appointment. Appointments at the top are all-day appointments. We can still navigate to different weeks by using the calendar sidebar. In addition to the week view, there's also the day view, which, similar to the work week view, will break up the times but give you a little bit more room in which to see currently scheduled appointments. I'll return to month view. The calendar, while showing appointments by default, is capable of showing other information from the CRM module. Under the calendar menu, you will see Show Appointments. This is all the different appointment labels that have been set up in your system, and you can actually turn these on and off. For instance, if I turn off the Must Attend, we will see that the appointment that was on the 25th and 26th has disappeared. And we'll bring that type back in. I'm going to skip by this option and talk about it in a second. I can also show tasks that are not completed and have an end date scheduled. Right now there are no tasks with a due date on this calendar. I can also show birthdays, which will include any contact's birthday in the system and put it on the calendar as a recurring appointment. The Show by Attendee feature determines whether the calendar I'm in is simply for me or if I can see everyone's calendar. Basically, it puts it into a multi-owner mode. So I'm going to click on the Show by Attendee to show the difference. As you can see, Bob Doe up here in the owner section. But I can now use the pull down here to change to see other people's calendars. And we can see that it's changing as we go through here. This behavior is consistent between the month view and the date and the regular week view. However, if I now switch to either day or work week view, what I get is the day going across the top and then each user as a slot for that day. And what we can do is kind of look across some different days and see how it works out. Now these particular users are all attendees of the same meeting, so we see them in that time slot all attending that meeting. Kind of looking through here, trying to find another good representative appointment. You can see here that Nike sales appointment's only for Bob Doe. You can see here that these recurring appointments only affect these 3 users. And now I'll take the calendar back out of multi-attendee mode. Now it's important to note when you put it into the by attendee mode, you can only see those other users' public appointments, which we determined was controlled by the appointment type. What I'm going to do is show adding a new appointment to the calendar, and I'm going to put it in the same time slot here as this 4 p.m. sales meeting so we can see some of the additional features that are available for scheduling an appointment. I'm going to right click into this area and say New Appointment. I get the Add an Appointment screen, and has 5 tabs going across it. The first tab contains the basic appointment information, and I'm going to put in here that this is a sample appointment. We can specify a location, say New York. The next field determines if this is an all-day appointment or not. All-day appointments have no times and are assumed to start from the very start of the day and continue on to the very end of the day. And if I check this box, we see we do lose the time selectors. If I leave it not as an all-day appointment, I can schedule the time that it starts and the time that it ends. By default, the reminder is going to show me 15 minutes before the start of this appointment that I have this appointment. Here's where we see the type, which will determine whether this is recorded as a public or private appointment. And we can specify the label, which can allow us to categorize this appointment. There's also the Show Time As, and we will see in a second from the Attendees tab, this is partially where we get some information about how we can schedule this appointment. A free appointment will never conflict with any other appointment, whereas Tentative Busy and Out of Office indicate that this time slot is pretty much reserved for anyone who is an attendee. Switching to the attendee, I see all the users in the system that I can invite to this appointment. And to help this demonstration, I'm actually going to make this appointment for now conflict with the other appointment we know to be in here. So we see here on this side of the scheduling that Bob, Jenny, John, Matthew, Ryan, and Stan are all busy in the 4 to 5 time slot. So if I wanted Jenny and Matthew to attend, there are going to be conflicts. So what I can do is I can reschedule the appointment simply by double-clicking in the header here. And if we look over here, we'll see the appointments. Oops, let's do that again. By double-clicking, that the appointment's been rescheduled from 2 to 2:30. And I'm actually going to make this a 1-hour appointment. So looking in this time slot, we see there should be no conflicts for that appointment. The third tab allows us to specify recurrence. If this appointment is to happen more than once, we can set up a pattern for which it will continue to occur and show up multiple times in the calendar. We can say it's for every day, every weekday or weekend. On a weekly pattern, we could say it's every 1 or 2 weeks on a particular day for that week. A monthly pattern lets you set up how the pattern recurs across how many months. So the second day of every month, or every other month, or the first Sunday of every month or every other month, so on and so forth. And yearly will let us set up a pattern for every particular day of a particular month, or for the first type of day, or weekday or weekend of a particular month. Along with setting up the pattern of recurrence is the range of recurrence. This will be the first date that this could possibly occur on. And then we can say no end date, which means the appointment will continue forever. To end after a certain number of occurrences, so if we're going to have this meeting every other week for 4 meetings, then we set it to 4. Or if we know that the appointments are going to start in July and then are going to end in August, we can simply set the date that the last occurrence could occur on. I'm not going to make this one a recurring appointment right now. The Categories tab is a way of adding additional information to the appointment so that it's easily searchable later on. We can say that this type of a meeting is a conference call and it's a sales call. We can also put contacts it's related to so that we will see this appointment in this Contacts Activities tab. We could also relate any files in FileShare, like a meeting agenda or sales presentation that might be related to the appointment. With the appointment information set and it's scheduled for a time that doesn't conflict, I'm going to save this appointment to the calendar, and we'll see it plop in into the time slot here that we set it for. Looking one more time at this appointment, we can look at the attendees and some of our other options for attendance. The green check mark in this column indicates that this person has acknowledged that they will be attending the conference. They can also specify their attendance as tentative, which would be a yellow check mark, that they cannot attend, or decline, which is a red X. The blue stars indicate that they've yet to acknowledge the appointment, so we don't know whether they will or will not be attending. This column shows their attendance type, which right now they're required. We can also multi-select these users and require their attendance or make their attendance optional informational very quickly. Optional attendees are the appointment will show on the calendar and their reminder panel on the front page, and they would be nice for them to attend, but they're not required to attend. Informational will show the appointment on someone's calendar, but they cannot change the appointment, and they're not expected to attend the appointment. It's merely to let them know that the appointment will be going on. I'm now going to close this appointment. And the other indication here on the calendars, other than all day and scheduled time appointments, is this recurrence pattern, which we did talk about recurring appointments. We can see that this appointment's recurring every other Friday. So if we edit this appointment, look at its recurrence pattern, we see it's a weekly, every 2 weeks on Friday. And this one has no end date, so it continues out forever. In addition to your regular calendar and the By Attendees view, there is a Search Appointments option, which will load simply just appointments, and you can narrow it down by descriptions or locations, contacts it relates to. You can also specify some attendees that you want to see. Again, you will only see public appointments in this fashion. You could search by labels, or by categories, or even types. So for instance, to see all important, we should only get the red appointment types. If I wanted to see everyone's appointment, I can kind of go through here and check off every single user, and what I will get is all of the public appointments all in one calendar. So this is all of the possible appointments for this month for all of the users who have noted an appointment. And it basically can kind of act as a company calendar in this way. In addition to viewing the calendar in multiple days, you can also print this calendar. It will print as it was displayed on the screen, and you can change the landscaping to portrait or landscape to help accommodate the space. If you switch the calendar to a workweek view, the printing will change to match. And it will print each day per page in this view. This is a reminder for our sample appointment that we set, and we can go ahead and tell that reminder that we'd like it to wait till just 5 minutes before the start of the meeting. And we will snooze. This concludes the calendar training. If you have any additional questions, you can refer